We're live. You can't even see me. Okay, that's fine. Hi guys. Oh, hi guys. If we have full view, hold on one second. So thank you guys for joining. Can someone in the chat? I know you can't see me, but is this inverted for you guys? I don't know if I can change that now, but
can you guys do me a favor? One of you zoom in, send off to Cantrell.
Can someone say in the chat if this is forward or backwards?
Right, I'll check on the link. Does anybody have mine today for the whole day? Yeah. Thank you.
We have 7 viewers. This is so nerve-wracking.
13 people, and then it dropped down to 11, and I was like, oh, that's okay, I'll just be here. All right, I'll be there. That's so sweet.
Okay. Does it say?
Okay. You bought me words first.
Oh yeah, just so you know, if you want to tell your friends, this won't work on school Wi-Fi. Just because the school blocks it. I don't know why, but.
No, it's not
Oh, okay. So we're gonna start very soon. You guys can just hang on in there. So the school only lets people in at 7:45, and we're gonna have to wait.
And Mary's really nice. The lady that's up front, she's just like super nice. She just needs to be told when we're expecting people. And in typical standing back. We used to have a person who did not
No, this is like scary. Hearing things so sometimes.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. Okay. So if you just send her, she's expecting.
So basically, I don't have much to say. We're gonna start soon. We're waiting for people to come in and stuff. But yeah.
We're gonna start time. Oh, happy.
I'm starting the Instagram live, guys. So if you don't already, you should follow our Instagram at Lambert iGEM. It's here. Let me just quickly plug it. You guys should follow it. I promise you, we have to give like the best updates. Or we haven't been recently, but we will from now on. I kind of like it crossed my mind. Also follow us on Twitter. If you have, yeah, you should.
Well, they have a Twitter, and then I have a Twitter.
Yes. So the Twitter handle is LambertHS_iGEM. So you should follow that one too. It's really great. Okay. So we're gonna be starting soon. People are coming in as we speak. So yeah. This is Bruce. Okay. Oh, there's 10 viewers. Hi to all the 10 viewers. Welcome. We'll be starting very soon. I guess I can be your MC for today. I'm not giving the presentation, but I'm the MC.
This is really, really weird because we have people like live and Instagramming, and we only have a couple people in person.
So as you guys may know, Doc Cantrell is now admin at Denmark High School. So we're gonna have to zoom in with her. Oh, hi Creasy, I just saw your chat.
Creasy.
Hi, I'm doing a live stream. Oh, shoot, I'm doing a live stream. Yes.
Why don't you guys all like go like that area? Oh, sorry, I sat in the chair. No, you're okay.
Yeah. How many people are on?
Oh, how do you want to be
12.
There's 12 viewers. I know, this is like epic.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you guys think is best.
Why don't you?
One second, I'm testing out that Instagram.
Oh, people. The people.
That makes sense. Yeah, basically towards the people, and then I can pull up the presentation.
Okay.
Just stand there the whole time.
Hi. Oh, I know we're getting everybody. Happy birthday. That's all right. Come on in. Are you a senior? Our competition is actually next October. I'm sorry.
Because I came in through the gym entrance.
Oh, you
I saw you. No, honestly.
Okay, everybody. I'm gonna give it like one more minute because I keep on board people. Are you doing the icon dance? Yeah, we're doing
Yeah.
Nikita's texting me right now.
The hard work call.
What were you doing this year?
That was the biotech dance.
I know.
Yeah, no, remember we did it at
Okay.
Central.
So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna go through like the nuts and bolts, and then open it up for you guys. Okay.
Yeah. Everything goes there. What?
Like 5 different people.
Okay, we're gonna go ahead and get started. So if everybody would just have a seat, including the horde of locusts in the front.
Oh wait.
No, that's my seat. That's my seat. Seniors, they think they can rule the world. All right, if you don't know who I am, I'm Mrs. Stand-Up, and I'm Mrs. We just started. Just have a seat. I'm Mrs. Stand-Up, and I'm one of the advisors for Lambert High School. On this laptop, Tris, would you point to the laptop right there? On that laptop, we also have Dr. Cantrell, who is now at Denmark High School, who is also one of the advisors. Okay, so let's just basically jump right into it. So at the very basics of iGEM, it is a collegiate competition. So we compete against other colleges and there are a few high school teams. This year, there are only 6 high school teams in the United States. Around the world, there are only 66 high school teams. But this year in the competition, there are around a total of 250 teams total. So it's much more a majority of the collegiate, and we compete at the same level as the collegiate teams. So when we're talking about the science, you're going to be required, if you make the team, to go from like central dogma to very advanced molecular biology in just a couple months.
And also teaching yourself organic chemistry.
Yes. So we're looking at having a team of 16 to 18 members total. And there are a number of reasons for that. One of them is the fact that next year it's overseas and it's going to be in Paris. The cost we're anticipating, we're trying to keep it the same cost as it has been in previous years. And if the cost is intimidating, you can totally offset the cost of your fees by getting corporate sponsors or getting sponsors. So if you have any questions about how to do that, see this young gentleman right here, who is an expert at doing that. So we think your baseline fee will be $2,500, and then we expect some portion over the top. We don't know because we haven't announced prices yet for the Jamboree in Paris, and we don't know what flights will be or hotels. This cost $2,500 is what it normally costs us to go to Boston. Boston has expensive hotels, but cheaper flights. So we're trying to figure that all out, and as we get into the season, we'll be able to announce more of that. Again, don't let the cost intimidate you. If you make the team and cost is an issue, if there are financial situations that arise, we make it work. Dr. Davidson has promised that if somebody makes a team and something happens, a person loses their job, which we've had in past years, that we will make it work and we will figure out a way for you to continue on the team. Let's see, the fees are payable in installments, and it starts with a first fee. We didn't talk about this. Dr. Cantrell, are we doing that first fee in January?
So we're gonna have just a little bit more conversation about this, guys. We understand that 2020 is just, well, a giant dumpster fire. And so normally we would have an installment due before we leave for the winter break, but we also are trying to recognize that this is a major holiday season, and so people might be shorter than they normally would be. And so we will, Mrs. David and I, finalize what that installment plan looks like. Just understand that things may change as prices change. So this is the first time that the Jamboree hasn't been held in Boston. This is the first time that it's been anywhere else. So we're trying to figure out exactly, what it's going to look like. But understand too, I just want to piggyback on what Mrs. Standeven said. We have lots of ideas for fundraising. Lots of ideas. Keep in mind, this is all tax deductible because it's going to a school. So if you've got folks that you know well that are really interested in STEM, and you can talk them into investing in you, all of those things, we can talk all of that through at a later date, but there's lots of possibilities there.
Okay, so what is iGEM? Some of you know what iGEM is. Some of you are like, well, we heard this is a cool club. Or we heard it's a bunch of nerds. So iGEM is a collegiate competition in the field of synthetic biology. Synthetic biology is basically genetic engineering of cells, genetic engineering. So we're talking about manipulating DNA sequences and putting them into E. coli, we generally refer to E. coli, and turning those E. coli cells into factories that produce a product that we want, that we need to solve whatever problem we tackle. iGEM teams compete for medals, bronze, silver, gold, and then they also compete for special prizes. We compete for those special prizes only against the other high school teams, but we compete against for the medals against the collegiate teams. So to put it into perspective, there might be 50 teams that get gold, but all of those 50 teams achieve a certain level and standard of work. They've accomplished so much over the season. And college teams, I'll name drop MIT and Harvard in previous years have only gotten bronze and silver. That it's not, you would think that they would always get gold, and that isn't always the case because they didn't achieve as much.
Yes, there have been years when we've gotten gold and they haven't.
Just saying. So we meet every single day during 5th and 6th period. And this is a mandatory time period because you're getting, iGEM is now a class at Lambert, and that class is obviously not offered online. The class credit that you would be getting for next semester, depending on what course you're in. If you're in one of my biotech classes, you will just continue that biotech class. So let's say you're in essentials, then you would just switch to my 5th, 6th period essentials class. But that requires a schedule change.
Yes.
And Dr. Jonassy, who does the scheduling, has told us that she will try to make it work. And then she'll make the schedule changes. So if you hear there's no schedule changes, ignore that. They make an exception.
Also, don't repeat that.
Yes, also don't tell that to anybody else. But you have to be registered in the course and you have to be present in school. And I know during COVID that this is maybe an issue for some of you, but I am very sorry, this is the reality. You have to be in the class in order to be on the iGEM team. We've managed this year to have some people who are virtual. In fact, Dr. Control is virtual, but that's different. She's an advisor, right? But the team members have been virtual, and we've been able to make it work because we started off in person. And then they've put in, I don't even know how many hours over the summer on virtual calls, and that the iGEM Foundation changed the judging this year to recognize that teams may not have access to a lab. We don't know that that's going to be the case next year. With the vaccines coming out, I anticipate the foundation going back to the old way of judging, which means we need to have wet lab, which means we need to be in person. Basically, iGEM functions like a small biotech company. To start, because every year we graduate to them. So we work in committees or what we call work streams, but people aren't necessarily only one work stream. So you often have several different committee work streams that you're working within. But everybody has to understand the total project, and everybody has to, at some point, learn the wet lab process. So we function in, I'll have them raise their hands. So if you were wet lab, can you guys raise your hands? Okay, if you were hardware, can you raise your hand? Software.
software people?
Appreciate where
I
his
don't
hand on
think
YouTube.
Oh,
Yeah.
appreciate
On
waving
YouTube.
his hand on YouTube. Okay.
It's on YouTube. Yes.
Graphics and science science communication and international integrated human practices. So now, a lot of those things you can figure out, but you may not know what human practices is, and that's looking at science as a human endeavor. And so as scientists, we have to think about the ethics of our work, we have to think about the laws and regulations, we have to think about whether our work is good for the world, and then we also have to see if the world really wants our work. And would kind of marketing, would somebody buy our product? We also, in that science communication, we have to produce every year a wiki, which is coded by the students, and you can go, I'll show you how to go to our wiki, because you're going to need to reference that for your application. We have a poster, which is this year online. We don't know what it's going to look like next year, if it'll be back to the regular paper poster. There is which we hope. There is a presentation. There are 2 actual videos. There's a promotional video that's 2 minutes, and there's a 20-minute presentation video. So we need videographic, videography skills as well. So the most important thing is that you are a creative problem solver who wants to work. Everybody on here will tell you. And by the way, they have to reapply, except for the seniors.
They just want to reapply.
You read the chat this morning?
I'm ignoring them. They love us.
Yes. We need you to work hard. I mean, iGEM, we call it varsity biology. Varsity biology. So it's equivalent to being on a varsity sport. You actually can earn a letter. And you need to be able to put in the time, and we can't be forcing you to put in the time. It has to be something that you want to do. So you have to have that innate passion to follow through. We also need people who are good leaders, but then also good followers. And sometimes that's hard to get in the same package. Sometimes people who are really good leaders have a hard time stepping back and realizing where their strengths end and somebody else's strengths need to take over. We need people who can work as a team and all help each. We call them a family. Not as much this year, sometimes, but also we support each other. So when, for example, one person says, I really need help with this, 3 other people step up and say, hey, I can help that out. I don't know what to do. If you just tell me what to do, I can do that. So we need people who are willing to do that. A good basis in biology and chemistry, but if you're a freshman, don't worry about it. Because the biochemistry level that you had in the first semester is enough for you. We understand freshmen are not going to come in with a full set of skills. Freshmen make the team because they have the potential, and we see something in you that we can groom.
They also have a huge learning curve.
Oh gosh, yes. So Chris and one of our other team members, well, actually 2 of our other team members, but Chris made it as a freshman. And if you have questions about what it's like to be a freshman, you can ask Chris later. You need to be able to write scientifically. So we're not expecting you to understand every word in a journal article that you read. We're expecting you to be able to communicate yourself in a literate way, using vocabulary that's appropriate and citing appropriately. So if you, when you write your project proposal, you want to make sure that you're giving credit to where it is from. If you get an idea from another scientist or from another iGEM team, you need to credit it. And it's okay to credit other people. You don't need to have come up with your idea alone, but you need to be able to communicate that and put those other ideas that you've taken into a new and novel way. Additional skills that are helpful, like I said, engineering. We usually have a hardware component to our project every year. It is usually some kind of frugal science. We need marketing skills, and we need video production, and we need somebody to help poor Neha with graphics, although she's been amazing. Do you want to add anything to that, Dr. Cantrell?
No, I think that's great, but just keep in mind, and again, writing skills are going to get better and better as you've done more and more technical writing, but as this Evan is talking about the application process next, keep in mind that, we will be looking at paper and tearing them apart for their scientific writing skills and their, grammatical correctness. So please make sure as you are putting your application packet together that you have someone else proof it for you and make sure that it is the best possible version of paper that you can produce that you're submitting to us.
So what is actually the application this year? The application is really different this year. So if you've applied in the past, please make sure you're paying attention to these details. If you want to take a picture of this, you're more than welcome to. This video will also be posted on YouTube if you want to go back and review anything. I'll get out of the way so you can take a picture. But basically, we want a one-page letter of interest. So a lot of you I don't know, and there are people out in the virtual world. I don't know you, and Dr. Cantrell doesn't know you. So we need to know a little bit about you. A letter of interest should include, why you want to join iGEM, but then also a little bit about yourself. Show us your personality. Tell us about the other things that you grade. Right. Keep it current to the last couple years. So if you're a ninth grader, obviously you don't have a lot of high school history. So you can go back to middle school. But if you're a junior, please don't tell me that you won something in sixth grade.
That was love, no one cares.
Yeah, sorry. Your list of specific skills. So we know iGEM requires you to learn a lot, but it is helpful if you can come in with some skills that we fill a niche for us in our company where we are graduating people. So we know specifically this year we're going to need some people who we can groom into that engineering role and into that hardware. So having a background in robotics is fabulous. Having the ability to code either for apps or computer code, and I will let somebody who actually speaks that language. We do it in HTML, Java,
JavaScript,
CSS. I don't know what else we use.
and they use React Native.
What?
They use React Native for all
I don't know what that means.
the coding.
Okay, all the coding languages. Just if you have
every single one.
Okay, not Fortran or C. That was when I learned that. You're going to need, and in that, if you have a skill that you're quoting, like robotics or something, if you have a picture of that robot that you built, like link in that list of specific skills, you can put a hyperlink in there, or you can just like attach a picture. Or if you've written an article, or what am I thinking about?
Community work.
Community work. Link to that. Okay.
Let's say, for example, you're arguing I have great videography skills or I have great graphics skills, then link a video that you've created or link graphics that you've created.
Let's see. Your resume should be basically, of course, your name and your address, email address, and phone number. And then you're going to include in that resume the STEM classes that you have taken and the STEM classes that you are taking and your current grades. You do not have to have a 4.0, but I will tell you that I think almost everybody has a 4.0 in their STEM courseware. Some of them are laughing because
No, maybe.
Oh, AB, sorry. AB calculus has some of them like, drop. But the fact of the matter is you cannot be on a varsity sport if you're not maintaining a certain GPA. I have had to tell people on the iGEM team, they need to back off their work and they can't come into the lab and they need to concentrate to get their calc grade up before they can come back and work. Because at the end of the day, you're students and you need to be able to be successful in your classes. Because I would like to say that iGEM should be a priority, but it's not. You need to pass your classes and you need to be getting those good grades that you and your parents expect.
Well, what you also have to be able to do is balance. You have to be able to balance both.
Yes. Yeah. Time management is a huge skill. If you can provide evidence of your time management, that's also great. Now the next part is the one that is probably the most intimidating, but it doesn't have to be. This is the 3 to 5 page paper in APA format with citations. If you don't know how to do APA formats, look it up. And then reach out to people, go to your English teacher. So what you're going to do this year is you're going to look at our current project. You're going to go reference the Lambert iGEM webpage for 2020, and you're going to look at our project, which is called AgroSense, where we have created some biosensors for aquaponic systems. This year, though, we've only got hydroponics. And we have biosensors work. We have one that we're waiting for sequencing results, and we have one we dominated with it. So we want to know some of your ideas of how to extend our project. We have to decide the direction. Like, is the aquaponics going to be our main focus next year, or is it going to be just turning into like our side human practices problem? Where should we take the basics, very basic things of our wet lab and turn it into an extension? We have to go way above biosensors. So what I would encourage you to do, along with looking at our webpage, is go to the iGEM 2020 homepage, find some of the other high school teams, especially focus on, I do it. Find some of the other teams. Some of the teams to look at are coming out of China. They were not no, and this is, the reality is, a lot of those teams had full access to their labs for the whole year. So they have, I was reading last night some of the web pages. Some of those teams have 30 biobricks they characterized.
This year?
Biobricks are standard DNA parts. They're called biobricks because they're like Lego bricks. You can put them together to create something bigger. So we want you to make a proposal for a new biobrick or a new thing, right, that can add to our DNA sequences that we're doing. The second thing we want you to do is look at some other aspect of our project. And this is maybe where your skills, your talents, and your passion can come through, and propose something else. A new software piece, a new hardware. Modeling, I'll talk about in a second. Actually, I might have Ruth talk about modeling. And then integrated human practices is, again, that science is a human endeavor. Think about maybe an outreach that we can do that we haven't thought about. Think about some, maybe come up with a business plan for how we could turn these hydroponic, aquaponic systems into an actual marketable thing that we could sell. So that's what I'm talking about with that extension piece. So wet lab and some other piece. Ruth, can you talk about modeling for just a second?
Okay, well, the modeling we're talking about for iGEM is mathematical modeling. So that is a lot of I guess you can think of like models that predict things. Like this year, we built a model that basically simulated the activity of our phosphate biosensor, and it predicted the amount of GFP expression, which is fluorescence, that we would get in response to different levels of phosphate. So it's a lot of modeling. The goal of modeling basically is to get information about how your experimental process is going to work out and what your results might look like.
And it helps then inform your wet lab. So if you do the model and it shows that you're not going to get any GFP expression at a certain molarity of phosphate, then experimentally, you're probably not going to use that level of phosphate experimentally. It helps guide where you should be focusing your experiments. Okay, so these wonderful, lovely people up here have agreed that they will be available to answer your questions. So if you want to take a picture of this as well, but please note, they're only available between 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. And no, that's not 4 a.m., Arian. And they will field questions until Wednesday of Thanksgiving break. They're not going to field questions after that. Dr. Cantrell and I are not going to answer emails on our Thanksgiving break. So you need to plan accordingly. If you have questions that you want to ask one of Dr. Cantrell and I, you need to plan to ask us that before Friday afternoon at 3:40. If you have questions that you want to answer, ask these guys, you're gonna have to do it by that Wednesday. Your application is due the Monday we get back from Thanksgiving break at 3:40 p.m. And it is sent by email to both Dr. Cantrell and I. If it arrives late, we don't even look at it. And we don't pay.
It's less than in time management, guys.
Yep. Because for Wiki Freeze, for all of our deadlines from iGEM, and it's also real life,
They're non-negotiable.
no, it doesn't matter that your internet crashed. They don't care. I actually personally had to judge a team that the internet went out in their city when they were submitting their wiki, and they never managed to submit their wiki. They didn't even medal that year because of that. And the kids came to me, I was judging, and they came and gave me a whole printout of their whole wiki and said, our internet out, that there wasn't anything you could do about it, but the rules are very clear. And so starting with your application.
We're very sorry. You should have had it done 3 days ago.
Okay, so next up, what kind of questions can you ask these people? We understand some people have already been asking questions. You can ask them, what the heck is the parts registry and how do I read it? How do I navigate this thing? What is a promoter? I don't even know. You can ask them iGEM definitions. Like, what the heck are you talking about WikiFreeze? I don't even know what that is.
It's a BioBrick.
BioBrick. You can ask them, all of these, you can ask them how to navigate our wiki, although it should be self-explanatory, hopefully, if we've done a good job writing our wiki. You can ask them questions, what is a Jamboree like? Some of them know, some of them unfortunately have only had the virtual Jamboree. But you can ask them those kind of basic questions. You cannot ask them, absolutely cannot ask them, what would you suggest that I do? That's not fair. Right? That's not fair. These people, the underclassmen, have to reapply. So they have to do the same thing. They've got to tell us, don't you?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. You have to tell me, tell us, propose an extension for next year's project. So you can't ask them. All right. The electronic applications are due to these two emails. And if you want to write it down or take a picture, it's just our school emails.
Just make sure that you guys use the @foresight.k12.ga.us and not the @foresight.k12.org. We will not get that.
What? Oh, the other one's are Google. Everybody okay on that one? All right, so some frequently asked questions. I'm going to be virtual. Can I be on the team? I'm really sorry, no. And
It's not negotiable either. Do not go to her whining.
yeah,
It's not going to happen.
the reality is, for companies that are working virtually, you can ask your parents, they're noticing their productivity is exponentially decreasing. How does the process work? We read through the applications. We will call your references. We will call those people that you list. It does not have to be teachers. This year, because of the virtual nature, some of you only have virtual teachers. So we want people that can talk to your teamwork, your work ethic, all of that, as well as any specific skills that you have.
Guys, this probably goes without saying, but your parents are not a reference for you. They're forced biologically to love you.
We will set up then virtual interviews with people, and we'll set up virtual interviews, and you'll interview with Dr. Cantrell and I, and then we hope to announce the new team by December 15th, because we like to have what's called a crossover breakfast or a crossover meeting where our alumni sadly say goodbye, although some of them are hanging around in the spring semester. This is a really important question. Do you have to be in biotech currently? No. In some years in the past, we said absolutely you have to be in biotech pathway. This year, because some of you started out virtually and you may be coming back in person, you may not have been able to be in the biotech class. And obviously freshmen haven't been able to be in the biotech class. So it is helpful, but it is not mandatory. There are a maximum of 18. We're not taking more.
Big less.
Yeah. And everybody on the current team has to reapply, and there are no guarantees for returning members that they make it. There are years we cut people, and there are years that people just say, hey, we're not going to be on the team anymore, that we decided this isn't for us. Do you have to have an unweighted 4.0? I think I already answered that. No. But it is really helpful to show, most of these guys do manage to maintain by the end of the year a 4.0 average in their STEM courses.
You have to show that you can be successful in your STEM coursework, guys. So your science classes, your math classes, your applied science classes. That's what iGEM is.
Okay, so I'm going to open it up and for questions. Oh, that's the end of it. Open it up for questions, but I'm going to let them answer because they're the ones that are really the true experts. So any questions that you have, it should not be intimidating because whether they seem like it or not, they were just in your seat maybe a year ago. Seth,
Okay.
you're not making the team.
Oh, darn it. I did this for nothing. We have 13 viewers. That's pretty impressive.
That is impressive. Hey, that's what matched my keynote yesterday. All right, so questions for these people.
Wait, if we drive fifth and sixth period every day, can we still be on the team?
Yeah, appreciate
you
answer
have
the
to-
questions as they
You
come.
have to be enrolled in the class. So you can come in just for iGEM, and that is an exception to the policy that was written. We do have some students who are still going to be, that were all virtual this fall, but are going to be allowed to be able to come in just for the sixth period, but they will be enrolled in a class. Other questions from here or there? Yes. I'm sorry, go ahead. So Dr. Cantrell, do you want to answer that one? He currently has 7 periods.
Schedule changes will have to be made. You're going to have to work that out. So there has to be something that you can take a half credit for and decide if this is worth it. So hopefully maybe you're in, say a PE and you could do health virtually, but you're going to have to be able to be present in class. And that's true for freshmen, just like it is for everybody else. We're going to be able to do a schedule change for you and give you a half credit of scientific research.
But then I have to sacrifice. Hannah. Oh, Dr. Cantrell, can they put us down as a reference?
Yes, so for a lot of you guys, we've been your STEM teachers, and we can speak to your abilities. So yes, if we work with you individually, I absolutely will serve as a reference for you guys. I don't think it's fair for us not to be able to speak for you.
But that means you will need to have an additional reference.
But guys, I don't want to go through applications, even though and find my name and not have someone reach out to me individually and ask. That is very, very inappropriate. It's very unprofessional.
But make sure you ask your references before you put their name down.
Right, because if we call them, they're like, wait, what? What is this? That's not gonna count for you. That's gonna count against you.
All right. How many references did we want?
So here's the thing, guys, until it looks right. And again, I know that's not specific enough, but the reality is some of you may only have 2 or 3. Others of you may have a lot of experiences doing really cool STEM-related stuff with lots of experiences in leadership or volunteering where people can speak to your time management, your ability to lead, your ability to organize. So it's really like what we're kind of envisioning is that you're going to have there's a title and then skill set to speak to.
I'm going to have to let people know because that was our warning bell. So I would say at a minimum 2. Now, for some of you, that might be, you might have had Dr. Cantrell last year and you might have a need for biotech. You can't just list us. You need at least one outside person besides us. Does that make sense? Any other questions before we're done? Okay, so again, you have their emails, you have our emails. Some of you, if you're in the building, you can always just come by and ask me. I'll take time to answer any questions between now and the time we leave for Thanksgiving break. So please feel free to reach out. I know the same is true for Dr. McRell.
Absolutely.
And I really appreciate everybody logging in and joining us this morning.
Okay, guys, that was our informational meeting video. If you have any questions, our emails are up there. This video is posted on YouTube, so yeah. All right, bye, guys. That's Monica. Bye, Krishu.